Formula One returns from its 3-week summer break. We now heard a lot of things about the launch of a new form of racing, and this one is called the Elite World Cup for hypercars. And to help us talk about this and to get a little bit more in terms of what it stands for, what it means, what the expectations are, we are joined in studio by Mr. Stephen Watson, who will be talking us through and letting us know what we can expect come September 2024. It feels like such a long wait, but a good morning, Stephen. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so Stephen, let's start our discussion with just tracking back a little bit, because we know that at some point we heard of an A1 series that was going to be taking place, and a lot of promises were made and there was so much expectation, but things didn't quite go according to plan, and you were part of that series. Perhaps talk to us about what went wrong there and what the lessons learned from that are that you're now putting into this series.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think all three of the founders of the Elite World Cup were involved in A1 Grand Prix. Mr. Liu Yu was the principal of Team China and the promoter for both the rounds that took place in China. And Mr. Tokyo Sexwale, of course, in A1 Team South Africa and the hosting of that race here. I think we've got the benefit of hindsight. If you look back, as it started to mature, management made some wrong decisions around the equipment they would use, the direction they would take. They took on a lot of cost, unnecessary cost, and that's ultimately what crippled the championship. But what we were able to pick out of what happened in A1 was some of the key ingredients. When we had Jos Verstappen, Max Verstappen's father, driving for Team Holland, when we went to Holland, the event was sold out. The Dutch fans were there, the Orange Army was there in force. And so what we really did prove is that there is strong patriotic appeal when you have great drivers who have achieved and built their names in other formula competing for their country. And just like any World Cup, you know, the top World Cups bring the top talent to compete for their nations. And yes, you have the younger championships, under 17s, under 21s, but really the star athletes go and represent their countries in World Cups. And we're on, you know, we're on the brink of a Rugby World Cup. We've sent our best squad. And motorsport should be no different. So the Elite World Cup aims to be significantly different to A1. First and foremost, we want to attract the best drivers in the world, drivers who have already represented their countries at the highest echelons of motorsport, whether that's Formula One, NASCAR, IndyCar, World Rally Championships, potentially even Valentino Rossi, who's taken to 4 wheels now from 2 wheels. So MotoGP, anybody's really proved themselves to be a star. Come and represent your country. A1 was single-seaters, but the world's moved on a lot. And there's a massive advancement for electric engines. So we're looking at a hypercar, not a supercar, a hypercar, one level up. And we've seen stunning performance out of these electric machines. And so that's what we'll focus on. Very unique, bring the best drivers to represent their countries. Everybody has equal equipment. So if you look at the dynamics in Formula One right now, Red Bull are dominant. They've definitely got a better technical package than the other teams. Previously, it was Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton. In this championship, all drivers and teams have equal equipment. So who really is the best?
I love that. I love that because that then allows the playing field and the competing field to be level. Speaking about the electric cars that you mentioned now, is that one, the gorgeous Black Lotus we saw you parading out in Sandton, is that part of those cars that will be racing?
Yeah, the Lotus Evija is probably, it's ahead of its time as a hypercar. It's got staggering performance, over 2,000 brake horsepower. Goes from 0 to 300 kilometers in 9.1 seconds. So it's insane. And that embodies the type of car that we would like to have. So we are in discussions with Lotus. That's a road car.
Yes.
We need a racing version. So we hope to begin testing a car that suits our criteria later this year or early next. And then our biggest task in setting up this World Cup is to produce 50 cars for 25 national teams to go on a global tour and compete.
Let's talk to now, you touched slightly on the type of races that you want racing in the Elite World Cup. Let's speak to the destinations and the locations where the races will be taking place and when you look to get this underway.
So we'll spend our time manufacturing cars, announcing teams and drivers from now all the way to our target start date, which is September, October next year. We plan to visit 5 continents, and we're really moving around the world looking at where the world markets are. So we'll definitely have a race in the UK, we will have a race in Europe, then we will move across to Asia, so you can expect to see races in Japan, China. Middle East is prominent. Of course, as one of the founding nations, South Africa must have a race.
That's what I was waiting to hear.
And then we'll go on to the US and South America and probably return and finish in China.
At this moment, Stephen, is there anywhere where people can go on to just find more information and get to know more about the Elite World Cup?
Absolutely. From now, from the announcement all the way to the first race, you can follow us on eliteworldcup.com. You can subscribe to receive all of our press releases, all of our newsletters, and it's the same name across all of our social handles.
Well, Stephen, thank you so much for your time this morning. We look forward to see what's going to happen with the Elite World Cup. And I know you say you learned a lot from trying to do the A1 Grand Prix moving on here. And we're looking forward to September, October 2024.
Thank you very much, and we're looking forward to working with you.